As a firefighter, I go into house fires protected. As an OR nurse, why would I want to go into an OR that has the same toxins and not protect myself and my patients?
Welcome to Periop Talk. I'm Jake Runyon, and I'm here today with Scott Hantz, who's the Director of Surgical Services for the Cardiovascular Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. Scott's also a fireman paramedic. So Scott, as a fireman and a nurse, can you tell us how surgical smoke compares to a house fire, please?
Absolutely, Jake. Thank you. So, as you know, I've been a paramedic fireman for about 20 years, which takes us back to 2000, 2001. When we would go onto a house fire or a car fire, there was no protocol as it relates to protecting ourselves with a breathing fresh air, which we utilize a SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. Fast forward into about 2015, 2016, we now have policies and procedures that mandate us that when we go into an environment, house fire and or even fighting a car fire outside, it's expected that we are going to utilize the protective devices such as an SCBA. If we do not, that is documented. And if we have an ailment down the road, such as a respiratory or cancer, if you will, we won't be protected because we didn't utilize appropriate devices. As it relates to the OR world, we know that there are many of the same toxins, such as carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, HIV, HPV, so on and so forth, that are in that smoke. And why wouldn't we want to utilize a smoke device to alleviate that atmosphere?
Yeah, Scott, it's been an evolution for those of us that have been around the operating room for years. And I remember being a part of the Cleveland Clinic team back in 2018 when this initiative first started. Can you walk us through what that journey's looked like over the past 6 to 8 years at the Cleveland Clinic?
Yeah, absolutely. So about 6 years ago, we had, which is, again, 2015, 2016 area, we had about 2 nurses, a nurse and a couple of scrub techs that went to AORN. And when they came back, they updated us on some statistics, some information that they got from AORN. And one of that was smoke evacuation. Was aware, but wasn't as aware as they made me aware of after that conversation. So we utilize a multiple disciplinary approach, chief nursing officers, associate chief nursing officers, physicians, other leads, and we took it upon ourselves to really become smoke-free. Now I can say that the clinic is smoke-free. We utilize smoke devices in all of our areas.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about how the Cleveland Clinic worked with AORN to go smoke-free, Scott. For those viewers that are listening, hopefully they do know we have a Go Clear initiative. And tell us how the Cleveland Clinic worked with AORN to help with that, Scott.
Yeah. So we paired with AORN, and my counterpart AORN worked with myself. We had a 12-week process where we watched all of our ORs. We also had some modules that all of our teams had to do with education. Once the modules were done, along with the monitoring of all of our ORs, I applied for the Go Clear award. During that time, we would utilize also our vendors, depending on what devices we were using. We would utilize vendors to help with some education with the physician, with our colleagues, nurses and techs, with pulling evidence-based research. Also trialing all of our different devices. There's multiple devices out there. We want to trial them all, make sure that we are at the top of our game prior to going into taking care of our patients. So a little bit of a process, but a lot of education. And like I said, we were successful here.
That's great, Scott. Yeah, I want to take the opportunity to thank Medtronic, one of our industry partners that helps sponsor this Go Clear initiative. Without their help, it wouldn't be possible. So with Medtronic and AORN, we're trying to help hospitals go smoke free, like Scott's alluded the Cleveland Clinic has. Scott, I know one of the things that you do with all the spare time that you do have is you help educate nationally on this topic. What do you hear when you go and talk to hospital representatives around the challenges that they're facing in transitioning to going smoke-free?
So education is always the key to any success, Jake. So utilizing your vendor that is at your location, understanding what technologies are out there. For example, ultrafilters help to take out those toxins in the environment up to 0.12 micron, which is the most difficult micron to pull out of that atmosphere. Educating hospitals that their facilities counterparts does a great job, but yet the air turns in the ORs aren't enough, because it can take up to 20 minutes to go back to baseline in those ORs, depending on what techniques and what type of cases you're doing. So education, Jake, is probably the biggest thing, along with continuing of that education. There's a lot of new technologies that continue to come out since this is such a newer world. We, as leaders, we have to make sure we're protecting our teams, and in doing so, we have to make sure that we're on top of those technologies.
Scott, awesome having you. Appreciate you taking the time to do this podcast with us. Thank you again to Medtronic for sponsoring the Go Clear initiative through AORN. And we'll see you on the next Periop Talk.